Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for our preview, as well as all the latest Chelsea news stream ahead of Leeds United versus Chelsea taking place tomorrow evening. But there's a lot to get through before we ever actually get to talk about the Leeds game itself. Because, well, first of all, it's been a couple of days since we last streamed. Yep. Jester can hear the crickets in the chat. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here, and we already got like 40-odd people here. So get involved in the chat. I want to know how you're all doing. But yeah, there's a lot to get through. Transfer news, Thomas Tuchel versus Marc Alonso is a bit of a madness. Cucurella hype, like CFC's time is put in the chat here. When you're flying out, Laurenz, I'm flying out on Thursday, mate. Unfortunately, how the flights from my town go, I couldn't go on Wednesday, otherwise I might have tried to squeeze in Leeds away as well. But that was not possible. So flying out on Thursday, figured out today that cheers Brexit. I don't have data in the UK anymore, and my phone was SIM locked, and I had to fix all of that. Bloody hell, drama left, right, and centre. But a lot to get through, and I'm joined by two wonderful, wonderful guests. If anything, it's good today that we're only the three of us because we're already going to be here for a while, I reckon. But maybe I'm wrong. Clutch, let me start with you. Now, first of all, thank you for being here as always, mate. Now, before the last game, we had a full week off, bottled it anyway. Now, Thomas Tuchel didn't even give them the Sunday off, but trained every day. You know, he said, maybe some players felt of it as punishment, but it wasn't supposed to be that. Now, we're taking on another big team, yeah. We're taking on another tough game, shall I say. Another team that's in a relegation fight. Another team that really, really badly needs points. It's basically just a copy of the game we had against Everton. Because ever since Everton beat us, they've just got points. And they are now not in the relegation zone anymore. But instead, Leeds are. Are they? I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's Burnley. But anyway, they're fighting against relegation. So it's a big one. But there's also big stuff going on with transfer news because even though it's not fully official yet, we now know who's going to be our owner. You know, he was there at Stamford Bridge. He was like, I'm ready. And the reports are coming out. He's ready to spend big. So let's see how that's going to go. But how is all of that making you feel? Is at least the transfer stuff almost making you a bit more positive? Because the on-pitch action certainly isn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, after that capitulation that we had with 15 minutes to go against Wolves, I kind of understand why they didn't get that day off. I mean, when you capitulate that bad against Wolves and give up goals like that, like you really don't deserve a day off, do you? Because we've not been playing well in the first place. We need all the time we can get, and I get that having time off is important, but we just had a week off before the game before last anyway, so it's not like we were playing a midweek game. It's not like you were intensely training all the time. But I think the closer we get to Boehly actually signing the papers and having the club is when I'm going to start getting more excited, because we desperately need to fix things up. I mean, it comes to where we're playing players that aren't going to be here next year, and they clearly don't care, whether it be Rudiger or Christensen or Alonso, maybe. Just it seems like they're not giving it 100%, which human element, I guess I understand, but at the same time, a lot of the things we hear coming out, it's not great. But if it is to be believed for what we know that Boehly wants to spend big, though, that probably doesn't mean 300 million like a lot of people think. We're not going to go out there and blow the basket out, but I do expect good quality targets that Tuchel wants to be coming through the door. So that's exciting because, I mean, that's what we need. We need center backs. We need a DM. We need backups to Reece James and Ben Chilwell, maybe even the replacement to Ben Chilwell. We don't know what's going to happen to him when he comes back. So it's just, there's a lot of question marks that we need to fill. And I think that's where Boehly coming in quicker, the better for me. We need to get everything sorted out, whether it be Cucurella, which we'll get to later. But I do think it's more of a positive thing. There is becoming more positivity rather than negativity around.
100%. I mean, you made a fair point there in terms of we don't know how big it's going to be. But also what we are aware of, because we're losing Christensen didn't start all the time, but we're losing essentially two starting centre-backs for free, and we need to replace those. Even if we spend big, that doesn't necessarily we're going to significantly improve the squad compared to this season. So it's not going to only have to be big, it's also going to have to be smart. And we'll get to that in a second. And yes, James, I will be at Wembley on Saturday. Hopefully the ticket turns up tomorrow or Thursday before my flight. Otherwise, it's going to be all sorts of drama that I need to go pick that up as well. I'm also thinking of going to the Women's FA Cup final on Sunday, which I realised was on Sunday. I'm like, might as well. So going to try to sort that out as well. And yes, as official Y1B has said, just Yusuf a thing, Rudiger has completed his medical tests for Real Madrid and has signed all of his things. Yeah, confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, he is going there. As much as my tweet the other week was like, well, now Boehly's done, can you not just give Rudiger a call? But that was also, mind you, before the Wolves game. So, not sure when I would have still tweeted that after it. But Pice, let me get to you. First of all, as always, mate, thank you for being here, I suppose. Not I suppose. Don't know why I said I suppose. Ignore me. Thank you for being here as always. That's what I wanted to say. Similar question to what I asked Clutch. Is the whole transfer kind of stuff finally picking up a little bit more and more and more? Is that helping you, like, I don't know, almost distract you from the on-pitch stuff? Because Chelsea are not doing us any favours there, are they?
I mean, in between games, maybe a little bit, perhaps. I suppose there's more reports coming out now of what Todd Boehly's plans will be. Seems like Marina and Bruce Buck will stay in charge as well, just for this summer at least. Well, initially as a kind of go through that transition phase, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, I mean, in terms of targets, I expect probably us just to go for the ones that they'd already decided. I think with Todd Boehly coming in, he doesn't know much. No offense, but he doesn't know much about targets yet and stuff like that. He's got to be introduced into the game. So yeah, I'm expecting more reports to come out for this summer, but majority we've probably already scouted and decided most of our targets lists. So I guess it's not as exciting as previous summers where, I mean, new targets can always come up, but you know what I mean? It kind of seems like this summer's kind of maybe pre-planned almost, and then Boehly will just be there to kind of maybe give that additional financial boost, but we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, in terms of on the pitch, we've got to sort our shit out. We're awful. We're playing terrible. Tomorrow night is a must win. We cannot draw. We cannot lose. We have to win. I don't care if we win 1-0. I don't care if we score in the 90th minute. Just win the game, please. We have to win. Leeds are awful. I watched them at the weekend. Arsenal really let them back into the game. They had 10 men as well. But they're still awful, man. And I think this type of game might actually suit us compared to someone like an Everton, because Everton actually played like a really deep block, and Leeds have to win this game as well. They have the same, well, not the same philosophy, but Marc has a similar philosophy to Bielsa. They've actually improved in terms of tackles won per game, and they have a similar level of sprints and stuff. So they're not going to come and sit back, even though they're at home. They're going to come at us. So hoping we can beat them convincingly, but who knows?
Although when you think back to the Everton game, obviously after they scored, they really just properly parked the bus. But I feel like before, especially in the first half, yeah, they always made sure that their defensive line was very deep. But they did press us high, and we could not, for the life of us, get past it. And that's exactly what I'm worried about tomorrow, if I'm honest. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Can I talk? Let's start talking about those transfer news. Like Pi said, we're probably going to be those very similar targets. The ones that we're kind of already aware of. Jules Kounde. I keep forgetting Gvardiol's first name. Do you remember his first name, Pi? Josko, that's it. Apparently, Josko Gvardiol, no idea why we're interested in him, if I'm honest. Not saying he's bad, but like, what's the point in us having an academy if we're going to sign 20-year-olds all the time? I don't get it, personally. But anyway, Pau Torres, there's now apparently, it's come out that Thomas Tuchel is really interested in Nkunku. Again, don't remember his first name either. But anyway, Nkunku from Leipzig was having an unbelievable season, by the way. In a very average Leipzig team, by the way. How many goals did he score? Like 35 goals plus like 15 assists? Stupid. Like that's assists. Stupid numbers. Sorry?
22 assists.
Even more stupid numbers. Giant team days. I know it's Bundesliga and I know it's Leipzig. But, those make even Werner's numbers look stupid. And this is a much worse Leipzig team than it was when Werner was there. It's mental. But still, always scared of buying any Leipzig players now since Werner, so I'm not sure about that one. But there's also a bit of talk about Marc, is his first name, Cucurella, obviously from Brighton, because there's now interest from Barcelona in Alonso, and he obviously wants to go, apparently. So, Pice, why don't you give us the latest, shall we say? Because what about this Nkunku stuff? What about, is that a thing? Is that a genuine interest, or is that just a rumor out there where it's like, oh, Tuchel likes him, but we have other shit to sort out first, so we're not really gonna be interested in those.
Yeah, I mean, Nkunku's an interesting one. I think I can't remember I think one of their bosses came out and said the other day we're literally not selling him at all for any price this coming summer. So I think that's one's just probably someone that Tuchel likes. Like, yeah, great. Tuchel probably likes a lot of players. So yeah, we'll have to see on that. But I think, Nkunku, even if he was to sell this summer, it's like 80, 90 million. Like, if the club's going to send that, they're probably going to spend that on Declan Rice or something. You know what I mean? Like a long-standing interested player that we want.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as well, we have to fix our defense. Who knows? Maybe we do spend a lot of our budget on the two centre backs. Maybe we spend big on Kounde and then less on another one. Obviously, there's talk as well of Koulibaly from Napoli. There's been a bit of talk about him, not necessarily from any Chelsea sources yet, but a few Italian sources saying, maybe he's ready to leave. He's got 1 year left.
How old is Koulibaly now, mate?
He's 30. Chelsea have always wanted Koulibaly for the last 5 years, so I don't know whether that's maybe just, look, Chelsea need defenders, let's link Koulibaly with Chelsea. I don't know. Like, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, midfielders as well. Look, if Jorginho goes, look, we'll probably get a midfielder in. Again, every single name that's been mentioned is only two. It's always Tchouaméni and Rice. Me personally, I can't see us getting either of them, to be honest with you. I think they're just, with Tchouaméni, there's too many clubs interested now, and I think his price is going to be so extortionate because, like, last summer I think was the perfect time to get him, but I just think his price is going to be so extortionate now. And Declan Rice, I mean, does he have the balls to hand in a transfer request? I don't think so. I don't think he wants to. That's always been said. I think Laurenz, when me and you did an episode with Simon Johnson last year on this channel, he said, look, Rice respects West Ham. He won't hand in a transfer request. He would like to play Champions League football, and it's the same this year, but he's not going to hand in anything. So there's a lot of targets Chelsea want, but we'll have to see in the summer. The one thing I like about the summer is, like, new opportunities can crop up. Like, we've got a list of names now, but, like, Chelsea are going to have lists of loads of names, and they don't always get revealed until, middle of the summer, late summer, start of the summer. So it's definitely an exciting time. It's just, can we put the faith in this board to sign players that not only Tuchel wants, but are the right fits, for the team and for the future. So yeah, let's see. Hopefully the areas that need to be addressed are addressed, and urgently, because what I don't want is, us spending the whole window on two centre backs and then ignoring other key areas. Like, that's the total thing I could see happening. So please don't do that. Get Kounde done within the first, week or two, and then move on to the other centre back and then go from there. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
No, exactly. I do agree. I mean, in terms of Germany, of what you said, I read someone's like theory, and I was like, that I probably agree with that. The only thing that kind of gives me hope against some of the other clubs that might be interested is, well, number one, depends on how much money these clubs are willing to spend. Now Madrid will definitely have funds opening up, especially if Haaland doesn't come, and not Haaland, Mbappe doesn't come, and now that they're not getting Haaland, that definitely opens up funds for them. But they still have a midfield. Like, you already have Camavinga on the bench. Liverpool, does Germany run straight in there and start for them? Does he, if he wants to really straight away start, we might have that advantage. If he doesn't, if he isn't that bothered about it, I unfortunately might have to agree with Pice that I feel like it's going to be difficult. But hey, we'll have to wait and see, and that's on then the board and Tuchel for deciding against signing him last year, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, the Koulibaly one, someone pointed out in the chat, while he is 30, he does turn 31 in June. It's a tough one, really. The whole Serie A centre-back thing is out. And I know it's not that simple, but it's like, well, Lukaku scored against these lot, and he doesn't against us. Of course, he did. It doesn't for us. Of course, he did against Wolves. I know this changed a little bit, but still. So, do I really want these Serie A centre-backs? I'm not sure. Because Koulibaly, it's like, I don't know. It just seems like we'd be too late on the whole Koulibaly hype. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's 2, 3, 4 years ago, all over that. Now, I feel like we've kind of missed that mark where we're still getting a top-class player. But at the same time, when you need to replace experience in Antonio Rudiger, not just experience, but also some sort of a leader, not directly a leader like a captain's leader, but a leader in terms of aggression, in terms of just a ball carrier, in terms of just, shouting at players when players need to be shouted at. You need to replace that with experience. You can't just replace that with 22, 23, 24-year-olds. Like, Pau Torres is, of course, a little bit more experienced than the likes of Gvardiol especially, but also Kounde. But Pau Torres is, if anything, a bit timid from what I know. Like, if anything, he's a bit of another Christensen. Probably and hopefully without the stomach cramps or stomach issues. But still, so it's a tough one. I mean, if I put it that to you, Clutch, of all the things we've been rumored with, I mean, just mentioned Liverpool will not pay with Monaco, one for Germany. Maybe not, but will we? That's the next tough one. Talking about like the Sosa's at left wing back, is it Cucurella? Like, how do you feel about all the players we're linked with? Like, I think we've all kind of in our heads kind of accepted, okay, we're getting Kounde. We're all pretty happy with that. Hopefully we just get it done. But what do we do around it? Because like you said earlier, we already need to spend a lot of money to replace what we need to replace, let alone trying to improve.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's hard to say because it's what we prioritize, right? I think in my head, I prioritize center backs, at least 2 center backs, Kounde being one, and then whoever you pair with him, a Torres or whatever. The Gvardiol, he seems young, and it makes no sense to me, like you said. Sure, he's good for now, but he's 20. Do we really want another 20-year-old coming in and having to rely on a 20-year-old? No, I'm sorry. Pau Torres, like, watching him against Liverpool, it wasn't that great. Maybe he's just having a bad game, because I don't watch him very much. But maybe he can turn into that.
He was great at the Euros when I watched Spain. I will say that.
Fair enough. So maybe he turns into a better player under Tuchel. Maybe he gets the Rudiger treatment. Who knows? Koulibaly, he's got the experience that we want, but there's a lot of question marks with that. It's so many different question marks. And after that, you have to prioritize it. DM. We have to be able to go to a back four. It has to happen. I'm sorry. You can say we need better attackers all you want. No, I'm sorry. You need a DM. That is a must-have. We need it. We cannot prioritize, keep going back to this back three that it seems to be in figure out. And at the end of the season, it just doesn't work. We're getting goals scored on us left or right in our back three system. So we need to be able to switch to have coverage, to be able to do something going forward. So I think DM is the second priority we need, which is whether you go for Tchouaméni or Rice. I really don't care, but we need to get one of them. I don't care who it is. I think Tchouaméni is a little bit more progressive passer. Rice is a little bit better of a ball retention kind of player. So either way, it just doesn't matter to me. You got to get one of them. And then you have to have backups for the wingbacks or the fullbacks, whatever we end up making them, whether that be Cucurella, who would be a very decent option, Sosa from wherever, getting him for left. Yep. And then you got to also have the right back. Maybe that's what Koulibaly or Kounde is. He's the backup to Reece James, maybe. But we can't have Aspie, we can't have Alonso, and we can't have Emerson as our backups next year. That just can't happen. I'm sorry. We've seen what that did to us this year. We cannot do it again. Maybe Emerson. Maybe we're being a little unfair to him. But definitely not Alonso and definitely not Aspie as wing-back options. And then we can start looking forward, like your Dembele's. Like, I think if we could kind of coax Dembele away from Barcelona, it'd be a fantastic signing. But do I actually think we're going to be able to do it? No, I don't think we are. Maybe Thomas Tuchel might be able to get us done, but who knows? And I think that's where it's like the levels of like priorities this summer, where I think
not fully like fair question maybe, but if I made you choose between getting Dembele and getting Rafinha, especially if Leeds are relegated and then he's a lot cheaper than he would if they stay up, who would you pick between those two? Out of curiosity,
I think Dembele is a better player. But history tells me Dembele's injury record is much worse than any of our players. So I just don't want to go through that again. I mean, we already complained about whether it be Pulisic or whether it be Conte being injury prone, and we just don't need another player like that. But if he can get past it, Dembele is the much better player.
It's mental. Like whenever I watch like Barcelona highlights and I see Dembele do something, I'm like, I swear on my life, either everyone in the Liga is dead ass slow, or Dembele is going to look our entire squad look like complete snails. The guy is so stupidly fast. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, let's get to the most ridiculous rumor out there, which is definitely not happening and is quite frankly simply hilarious. Harry Maguire, I don't remember who was the Donny that turned out with this. Apparently Chelsea won this English spine and we're looking at Harry. I'm like, sorry. We're absolutely not looking at Harry Maguire. And if we were looking at Harry Maguire, I'm going to another protest because absolutely not. But yeah, I mean, Pice, is the Harry Maguire stuff anything to take seriously?
I don't think so. I mean, this came from Richard Keys, who was a former Sky Sports presenter. I mean, it's not someone exactly
It's
reliable.
not
I
even
don't
a
even know.
journalist, just a
No, I
presenter.
don't even. Yeah, it's like it's a load of rubbish.
To me, well, I took that as rather than him saying, "Oh, we are interested in Harry Maguire." To me, that sounded like, "Why don't you go for Harry Maguire?" He's probably a United fan and wants to get rid of it. Chances are. Now, let me just quickly get to this comment by Dexter a few minutes ago. Where is it? That Koulibaly is the same age as Van Dijk, which might all be well and good, but what you got to consider is that Van Dijk didn't join now, right? So that changes things slightly because Van Dijk is now completely embedded into how Liverpool play. If we get Koulibaly, he's not. Also, Liverpool signed Van Dijk from the Premier League, not from abroad. Maybe a little bit different. Of course, you have the example of Thiago Silva, but Thiago Silva is one of the best centre-backs of the whole generation. Koulibaly is not. So not everyone will adapt as seamlessly, shall I say, as Thiago Silva is. That's not, you can't call that the norm, if you will. What is that? Yeah, EA will not renew its contract to make more FIFA games. That is true. No, I think they're just not calling it FIFA anymore. I think they're calling it a different name, which is better anyway, because why would we call it after the main federation? It's got nothing to do with anything, really. But Pice, now, I have a question because I've thought about this a little bit. Well, don't know for how long, but for a bit anyway. Now, if we go to a back four, and that's our plan, and I hope it is our plan, but if that is our plan, should the priority even be two centre backs first and foremost, or should it be one centre back, then a DM, then fullback options, and then a second centre back? Because if we only play two, right, every game, do we like? I want us to sign two as well, just to add some more ability, 100%. But what I'm not sure about is whether the second centre back should still be second on the priority list. And I'm a little bit worried that if we do just go for two centre backs, that's got the back three for next season written all over it again.
Yeah, well, but perhaps we still start in the back three, but perhaps by getting a DM, which I know Tuchel wants, perhaps if we do get that, then you can see us transitioning more into a four or playing just more games in general as a back four. Like, I don't think he's going to completely abandon a back three. He's not going to do that. But I can see us using the four a lot more. Like, how many times have we actually started in the four at the back this season? You probably count on one hand. Like, it's not been that many.
I
You know
agree
what
with
I
you,
mean?
but what I'm trying to say about that is if we don't have the players ready and available to work on it in pre-season, if we get to the season and we don't have the back four ready as an option, will we even have time to make it a proper option the way
That's why
all of
we
us
need the
want
right
it to be?
fits.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
why that's why we need the right fits and the right signings that can play in a back
Yeah,
four. If
yeah, that's what I'm
Tuchel's
saying.
wants.
But because, like, if we spend too much time on the two centre backs and it takes too long to get a DM in, and by the time we get the DM, it's August, then you can already say goodbye to the back four. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I think Chelsea need to plan for both scenarios. They need to, if we're buying defenders, we need to buy centre backs that can play in a 3 and a 4, which Kounde can. Kounde can also play right back, and then it's up to the other one. Like you guys mentioned, I'm completely off the Pau Torres train. I don't want Gvardiol anymore. I've realised now that we definitely need kind of an experienced older head to replace Rudiger. Yes, we've got Thiago Silva. If we're losing Aspilicueta as well, you can't have Chalobah, potentially Colwill, Kounde, say Pau Torres and Thiago Silva. Like, that's just not enough experience. You can't challenge at the top level with that young defense. Like, you literally just can't. That's impossible
Yeah.
in my opinion. So we need someone like a Koulibaly or I don't know, Chelsea. I don't know. We never
That's the
thought we'd
problem.
sign Thiago Silva.
Skriniar and
So,
Koulibaly are the only like experienced centre backs that I can even think of that could potentially be like possible to get. Sure, Marquinhos, but you're never going to get him, are you?
yeah, it's again up to the club, up to we're not the scouts at the end of the day. They need to find these people. We never thought we'd sign Thiago Silva, and we did. So maybe something else crops up, and we do sign that experience second centre back who, because we're all probably going to get Kounde. Like, let's be serious. If we don't get Kounde, then something's seriously wrong. So yeah. But yeah, just analysing the squad as well. I mean, Nizar Cancelo's report earlier, he said Tuchel wants a wing back backup. He didn't say full back, which was quite interesting. He said wing back. So I find that quite interesting. I know Cucurella plays wing back, so again, Sosa does as well. Can they
That
play
was the
Feyenoord
next thing I
forward
was
and
going
back?
to ask you. If we go to a back four, are Sosa and Cucurella even the options we should be looking at?
Well, I know Chilwell can play there, but it's
Yeah,
if
yeah, yeah.
if he's all right. Like maybe they, I don't know. Maybe it's like they come back up to Chilwell when we play a four, but when we play a three, maybe they'll take it in turns. I don't know. The key thing for me is ensuring we have proper squad depth, because if you look at our squad depth, sometimes we've lined up this season, probably going to do it for this game as well. It's just not good enough to challenge Man City and Liverpool. It's really, really not. It's causing these bad games because there's like 4 or 5 players in our rotated teams that we're like, oh, they're inconsistent. Oh, they're finished. Oh, they're old. Oh, you know what I mean? Like City
I
and Liverpool
wonder, do you
don't do
think
that.
City fans say that about some of their players as well? Like John
No,
Stones, for example. I'm sure they call
no,
him
he's good. He's
inconsistent.
very good, John Stones.
Oh no, for
John Stones
us,
is good.
but for them, like
Well, I
as
mean,
in,
they've even said
I
Ake's
presume
good for them.
other fans don't think about Chelsea players probably as harshly as we do because we
Yeah,
watch
but
them every game.
even you look at Man City. They signed Ake for 40 million, right? He's miles better than Malang Sarr. You know what I mean? Like it's things like that. It's like
We
that,
had first bid on that. Now we're missing a
it's ridiculous.
left side centre back.
If I
We've
ever
been
see
all
a
over
Man
that.
City or Liverpool fan moan about their depth, I'd go ape shit. Like it's crazy. The only time Liverpool fans can moan about their depth is when they had Nat Phillips and Williams. Remember as their centre backs when literally Matip, Van Dijk, all of them got injured. Even Liverpool, they play Fabinho centre back. He's like borderline world class there. He's unreal at centre back. It's just a joke. Like these guys have scouted so well and prioritize the positions that players that can play multiple positions and multiple systems, and that's what we need to do. And everything we're hearing about Todd Boehly's consortium, Daniel Finkelstein, potentially next summer with director of football if Marina leaves, like it's all very exciting because I think we're leading towards that approach now. Of that's what we're going to try and emulate, and ultimately over the long term, it will lead to a much better sustained squad, in my opinion.
Over the long term, yeah, no, 100% agree. It's a tough one anyway to look into next season because, like you mentioned there with Ben Chilwell, even if we sign a left back, left wing back, whatever, right? Maybe we still need to keep Emerson just in case Chile really isn't it. Do you know what I mean? Like straight away is what I'm saying. So like maybe we need to keep like an Emerson for another year just in case Chile doesn't quite work that way. And then once Chile is fully back for sure next year, then get rid of Emerson. It's a tough one. And also the right back situation. Like Clutch mentioned it earlier in terms of that Kounde could be that right back backup in a back four to Reece James. But that's only possible if Reece James starts staying fit. Because so far, pretty much every single season Reece James has played, he's missed quite a good chunk of it with injuries. Every season he's been at Chelsea for, I'm not sure if he's missed much at all while he was at Wigan, but certainly since he's been at Chelsea, he's always had a fair few injuries, right? And that to me is too much to have an actual centre back as his backup, because I guarantee already, if we have Reece James and then the backup being Kounde, and then Reece James is out for 2 months, say, right, as a random number, and we play Kounde there every game, we will sit here on these streams and absolutely lose our shit at the board. Why don't we have better squad depth? Why is it Kounde that needs to play right back every game? But not necessarily because Kounde won't be good enough for right back. Maybe good enough, maybe not. Offensively, probably not in my head. But I haven't seen him play right back, if I'm honest, so I couldn't tell you. But if we sign him as one of our main centre backs, we probably want him to be playing centre back, right? So if that means because Reece James is out, that means Kounde needs to play right back for 2 months. That means he can't play as centre back, and I feel like we will find that annoying. I mean, Rich says it there. Dujon Sterling might well be that person to come in just in case Reece does have too many injuries, and then we can't always replace that right back position with Jules Kounde. But if we stay with the back three, it's even more mental. Is Dujon Sterling enough to be the consistent right wing back backup? Or are we then going, is Ruben going to make that next season once we have another midfielder in and then he has less space in that position and he's just going to be the wing back backup when we need it? It's a tough one. I mean, much of a reaction to all the theories I've thrown out there before I take it back to Clutch?
You are right in some senses. I could see, like that guy said, Dujon Sterling coming back and playing a very limited role, something like that. I don't think he'd mind that, but yeah,
Yeah,
I do
he's a
agree with you. Like,
championship player. We're never going to make so much money on him anymore. So, like, you might as
yeah,
well.
I
That's my
do
opinion.
agree. I mean, like, if Kounde plays right back because Reece James has got injuries, like, I won't like that. I've seen Kounde at right back. average at best, but at centre back he's very good. So like I don't want that situation. So yeah, maybe it's plausible that we could have some youth additions into the squad as well. Bulk up the squad with them. I just hope that we don't like. I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like sometimes the planning in this with this board and with this current structure is just not good enough. Like where's the brains in some of these signings? Like Nkunku links. Like again, he's had a very very good season. Oh, apparently we're interested in him now. Like it's kind of the similar when it was Werner, right? It's like,
Well, to be fair, in this
why?
case, it was just that Tuchel likes him, not that we're interested, right? Is the report.
Oh, I'm sure the board like him as well. I'm sure the board have seen he's got 35 goals in the Bundesliga or something and saying, oh, look, brilliant. He's going to be unreal for us. No, it doesn't work like that, for fuck's sake. So hopefully they, you know what I'm trying to get at? Like they don't just panic sign these big names and you know what I mean? Like just think about things. Think about things for once. Think about everything. Think about the total package. Think about formations and systems. Like that's what I mean. That's why I hope like obviously Tuchel's
I'm
involved.
just worried
in
we can't
discussions,
do
but-
all of that in one summer, is what I'm saying. Even if we spend big.
No, we can't. We can't. Absolutely, we can't. We need at least 2 summers to clear everyone out. I mean, I don't have much belief that Marina will clear enough dead wood out the squad that I think we need to. But there we go. I mean, again, you guys mentioned Emerson earlier. Probably could stay, to be honest. Although Juventus have a big interest, hence why, I think Nizar said if he gets sold, then that could potentially lead like a Sosa or Cucurella. So I don't know. The thing is, we've got if you look at
for
it,
me,
like,
it's even keep Emerson and sign still Sosa or Cucurella, just because I'm not sure what Ben Chilwell is going to be like. Yeah.
Hopefully, a lot does rest on that. I have to say, I'm worried about that, but who knows? I mean, some players come back absolutely finished. Some do very well still. So who knows? I just think, like Clutch said earlier, when he was going through the squad, he's mentioned wing back, defenders, midfielder before we've even got to the attack, which is potentially our biggest problem. On the scale of things, it's potentially our biggest problem this season. Midfield as well has not been great because we haven't had, a defensive midfielder since Matic left. But you think of all these forwards like Timo Werner, is he going to stay here? Ziyech, Pulisic. I'm just worried that all of these are going to stay here and only one's going to leave. And that attacker we do sign is not going to be like, I don't know, a significant improvement of what we've got.
I think you need to just accept that that's what it's going to be if I wanted to be.
It's just like, but it's like, if I accept that, then like, how can we ignore these reports that, unhappy players like Ziyech, he's not going to want to stay in the same role. Werner, he's good, he wants to go back to Germany.
Yeah, but
Pulisic is unhappy. Like, you can't keep all these unhappy players here if they, you know what I mean? Like,
Diego Costa didn't always want to stay. We made him stay. Hazard didn't always want to stay. We made him stay.
I know, but I don't want that. We need a proper clear up. We need a proper.
No, I agree.
Like,
but like you said 5 minutes ago, we can't probably do the whole clear out in one window. So it needs to be like over the next 3 windows, like this summer, next January, and the next summer is probably where we need the clear out to happen. I feel like it's maybe a bit much to ask all of it to happen now. The one advantage or benefit that our attack has, as much as they're, extremely, what word am I looking for in terms of lackluster is not really what I'm looking for, but lackluster as fans, right? If we just have the same forwards plus maybe add one or whatever. The one benefit they do have is that they're young, right? Havertz, Mount, Pulisic, Werner maybe, but he's hopefully going anyway. But these players are at least young. Haaland, of course. So they have at least that benefit where they could just get better, while they might still not be what exactly we want. Chances are they will probably be a bit better next year than they are now. Unless things are a bit mental. Do you know what I mean? And yes, Luki, Haaland is confirmed quite officially by Man City. But before I get to outgoing rumors to finish the transfer news off with Pies, let me take it back to Clutch. Now, how do you see that? Like, obviously you said it needs to be a back four, like, which I understand. But is that like, do we even have the capabilities with everything that we need? Can we even sign enough players to make the guaranteed back four possible?
I think you had the point where you were talking about we need the center back, which we got in Kounde, and then we need to go for probably a DM and then another center back.
But we also need an experienced center back. It's the problem. So it's like, but it will still be Kounde, which tells me, okay, even if we get Kounde and an experienced one, but that already in itself tells us, okay, back three it is. Because someone said it. You see recently Thiago Silva like struggling a bit more. It's just too many games. But when you take Thiago Silva out, you can't just replace him with Chalobah or whatever. Like, you need someone somewhat experienced. I'm not saying it needs to be Koulibaly, who's going to be 31 by then, but someone that's older than 25.
Yeah, and that's the tough part, because we're not linked to anybody over 25 except the one person we don't ever want to see at this club, Harry Maguire. I mean, it's I mean, I can't believe I even heard that today. Why are Chelsea fans even entertaining that? Like, sure, he's decent for England, but
I don't think anyone's even entertaining it, are they? Did you see anyone that's actually like, yeah, why not? Really?
Yeah, I have. Just give your chat a second. There have been people in here that have entertained it today.
If you're entertaining that chat, I'm going to block you because I can't have stupid people watching me. Come on.
But yeah, I think when you look at last season, when we needed Leicester to kind of bottle it to actually make top four, which, in my opinion, if we don't make top four that last year, we have to win the Champions League to even make top four. But that puts more pressure on Tuchel to get it right. More pressure means likelihood of making mistakes. Because if he doesn't win the Champions League, or if he doesn't win the Champions League last year, and he also doesn't make top four, we don't know how Roman reacts. Because Roman don't play not getting top four. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore.
Roman's gone, bro, though.
That's what I'm saying. That was last year. But that was the back three. We got figured out. So now we have...
Wait, what are you talking about in terms of top four? Are you talking about this year or last year?
No, last year. I'm saying the back three at the end of last season started failing us, which is why I was so big on getting a DM last season. And
but did the back three fail or did the players fail? I'm not sure if what happened at the end of last season was to do with the system, if I'm honest.
They started to figure it out. Like, we started to get defended against better, and they also started scoring goals against our Champions League winning defense. So it was partially the system. Yes, partially the players too, because you can never say it's one or the other. It's always both. But I feel like we need to have that ability to move into the back four because if you just have the back three all season, that's all you have, it's easier to figure out what you're going to do. It's easier to defend against you. So for me, I think you need to have that flexibility to be able to change.
I agree. I'm just not. I'm not sure how realistic it is that we're gonna make like the DM. Hopefully, but I feel like even if we sign that DM, which allows us the back four, they can obviously still play in the back three. Whether that's right or there's too many, they're not going to be like, oh, back three, I can't play now. It's a tough one. But guys, just to finish that transfer news stuff off. Now, the binders I can tell it has come out that apparently Dortmund are interested in Timo Werner. Do you see that as a likely thing? I mean, they're getting, even if it's their release clause, 75 million for Haaland, and if they've got some money laying around.
I think it will happen. I do think this one will happen. I really, really do. I think Fabrizio said last night, I believe he was replying to someone, and they said Dortmund want 2 strikers. I mean, we've known about their interest. This is not a new thing. The Tsar's kind of recycled a couple of things, Werner being one of them.
Well, Adeyemi is already done, right? So they've already got one of these 2.
Yeah, they want another one after that, which I originally thought, if they get Adeyemi, they're not going to want Werner. But because they want 2, I'm like, yeah, that's 100% going to happen. I reckon probably 35, 40 million probably does it. Best for all parties if he leaves, in my opinion. And then hopefully that can, go towards an attacker, whoever that may be. I don't know. It's interesting as well because I think Broja's an interesting one as well, right? He's not been very, very good for a while now.
Since all the hype, really.
Yeah, since all the hype. I mean, he stopped scoring goals, and it's kind of like I said to you a while ago, I think he's more of a transition striker like Lukaku as well. So, I mean, if you have Broja...
Like Haaland is, so good luck.
Yeah, like, I think... I don't know. I think his future, we might cash in on him, I don't know. Like, it's going to be an interesting one. It really is. I'm not sure if Tuchel sees him ready yet or not. Just thinking more about the attack, Lukaku as well. Fuck knows what's going to happen with him. I still don't think it's as clear as he's going to go. Honestly, I just I don't know. I don't know if I can see him going. Honestly, if someone bids like 60 million, he'll go. But do you really see that happening? I don't. I personally don't. Don't know.
Well, 60 million. You think we're going to ask for him?
Yeah, 60 million
for Werner.
No, for Lukaku.
I was like, that's mental for Werner. Yeah, Lukaku is a weird one anyway, because I think with Lukaku, we almost got to wait how the rest of the season goes. I know it's only like, 4 more games or whatever, but still, I feel like we still kind of need to wait for that, because if things keep going like they did against Wolves, I don't feel like Tuchel will want to let him go. I don't feel like Lukaku will push to go. And I don't think Boehly is going to be like, yeah, get rid of him immediately. Like, I don't see that happening. Just because if we give him another season where it could work, he could get his value back up. Do you know what I mean? That's why I'm thinking, like, would you really? Because like you said, now Inter apparently getting Dybala, so they're probably not trying to take him back. Now, I don't think Lukaku would even go back to AC Milan, even if they could afford him. PSG, now that depends on whether Mbappe goes or not. Maybe that becomes an option. But even then, PSG is basically the only potential option I see as realistic, because no chance Bayern Munich will pay anywhere near the money we will ask for Lukaku if we were to let him go. So that's kind of my perspective. But nice Boehly, boys. Didn't even subconscious impression. But Clutch, I assume you'd be quite happy if Timo Werner left for Dortmund, especially if we got like a 35, 40, 45 million in.
Honestly, I think it's just best for all parties if he does go. I mean, I know it's going to be the agenda thing, but I just, in my heart, I don't believe he's got the technique to play in this league. And I think him staying around, Tuchel wants to play him more than we ever should. I mean, he had 2 great games, and then he hasn't been dropped a game since. And that tells you everything you need to know. Tuchel wants to play this guy, but he doesn't have any other options. So we need to get rid of him. I can't say that in a way where it makes it sound nice, because it's best for him if he leaves to go back to like the Bundesliga, where maybe the defenses that he goes against are probably what his attributes are best suited against. And especially if he goes to Dortmund with the players like with Adeyemi, who they're both used to playing in 2 striker systems. That's what Dortmund can give them. So I think it's just for him, it'd be best if he were to go. As for like a Lukaku, Tuchel did say he's still part of his plans. So I do think Lukaku will get another season with us, whether a lot of people like it or not.
Wouldn't he say that about every player that's here right now before the window's open and the season is still on? I think he would say that about anyone.
I do think he would say that, but I think he is somebody who wants to make it work. I know a lot of people don't think that he wanted Lukaku and he wanted that Lukaku was never his signing. He still agreed to it.
Haaland is not that different to Lukaku. So even if he wanted Haaland, it makes no sense that he would not want Lukaku.
Yeah, it's just I do think
for us, his miles better though. We have to
say that. No, 100%. But also half the reason why he's always injured is because his fucking body can't handle it.
Well, hopefully he has those at City then.
Yeah, hopefully. Just to react to this comment here by HM. How are you guys jumping on the bandwagon after one game? Now, what I said was not I want to keep Lukaku. What I said is if the rest of the games go like that, the club, I don't think, will sell him. What I want to sell him or not is kind of irrelevant to this scenario here. It's about what will the club do, essentially. But guys, before we take it now to number one, the Alonso leaving rumors, but also the Alonso versus Tuchel situation, we're for a preview, pretty good. So 260, 270 people we've got here. So I appreciate you all very, very much if you're here. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers, but we're also like literally 34 subscribers away from 14,000. So get subscribed, everybody. Let's hit 14,000 right now, today. So get down below, subscribe, hit that big red subscribe button for me if you're new here. And if you are subscribed already, call your mum, call your dad, call your brother, call your sister, I don't care, whoever you know, call everybody. And just tell them to subscribe as well. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers, like I say. And we've got, when is the last day of the season? The 22nd, is it? That means 12 days. It's never going to happen. But in my head, in these 12 days, I would love to get to 15,000 subscribers. So let's get that done, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe, tell all your friends about it that they should subscribe to, and smash the like button for me as well. Let's get to at least 100 likes right now. 150. Let's do 150, okay? Go down below, 150 likes. But Alonso. Price. Marcus Alonso. Now, rumored with the Barcelona stuff, but they don't have money to spend much on transfer fees. They will probably give big wages again, which to me is so confusing because wasn't the whole Messi problem the wage cap? And all of a sudden, they're happy to spend wages again, but not transfer fees. Don't understand. But that takes it back to the whole Thomas Tuchel versus Alonso situation. I'll ask you to explain it first because I'm not sure how much of what you know you're allowed to say publicly. So I'm not even going to say things. You just say what you know, and then I know that's how much you're going to say.
Yeah, Nathan Gissing, who is obviously a good Chelsea source. He actually he didn't message me originally. I saw it on Twitter and from some FPL source, and it was like sent to me over DM saying, "Oh look, Pies Alonso's fell out with Tuchel." So I messaged a few people, and yeah, Nathan told me that it was true. Happened on the pitch, and then I think that clip emerged of. Where Alonso lost the ball straight after half time. He sprinted back and then he shouted something at Tuchel. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I did an article on it with Nathan and the FPL source. Like, um, from what we know, it did carry on into the dressing room. I know Tuchel said it didn't, and the club came out and denied it. But yeah, there was a lot of insults from Alonso, from what I understand. So yeah, I mean, look, who knows? Alonso might have apologized. I mean, if he said it's been solved, it's solved. Like, I trust Tuchel. So yeah, I mean, if anything, Tuchel, like, if I was Tuchel, I would keep playing him because he is like still our best left wing back, and we
We're
really
trying
need
to
him at
get rid
the
of him in
moment.
the summer anyway, so it doesn't
Exactly.
really
So,
worry me
so
that
if
much
you're
under the
Tuchel,
dressing room.
if you're Tuchel, just play him and then just say to Mourinho or whatever, like, right, I'm not forgetting about this incident, by the way, get him gone, sort of thing. You know what I mean? That's when you can have your emotions out. But I just don't think it's wise. And it doesn't sound like Tuchel's done this, by the way. I wouldn't think it's wise for Tuchel to start, benching and freezing players out. Like, we're in a very, very difficult moment of the season. Like, just be smart about it. I know he offended you and stuff, but it looks like the situation's been cleared. But yeah, it definitely wasn't great. I mean, Tuchel
No.
goes mental, by the way, at everyone for giving away passes, and it's just so happens to be that guy Alonso that reacts to it. I mean, you look at Jorginho, right? Jorginho, was it the Crystal Palace game in the FA
Yeah,
Cup?
the FA Cup semis,
Tuchel
yeah.
literally ran off his seat and started like proper going mental at
Shouting all
Jorginho.
sorts of madness at him,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Jorginho didn't shout back or do anything. So just take it on the chin, stop being so egotistical, and listen to your manager. You know what I mean? So that's the way I see it.
Yeah, it's always a weird one, and people are well aware that I am the opposite of a fan of Marcus Alonso. Now, what I said to when you informed us about this happening, I said I think what you need to consider a little bit with this scenario is a language difference, and I'm not saying a language barrier. Clearly, Alonso's been here long enough to speak English perfectly well, but because he supposedly called him a mother flipper, not trying to get demonetized, a mother flipper, basically, in Spanish. But in Spanish, that whole thing is, as far as I'm aware, like will YouTube pick up on an English video if I swear in Spanish? So I'm not going to say either. But basically, in Spanish, it's a much more common phrase like it than it is in English. So I feel like that means it's a little bit less grammatic than it sounds in the translated version, if that kind of makes sense. And I do also think in terms of he insulted you, he offended you. To me personally, but hey, I could be wrong, Tuchel doesn't seem like the guy that would be particularly offended or that gets offended easy and is like then upset, and like he doesn't seem like that kind of guy. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know him, but yeah, I mean, Jeff asked it there. Does Tuchel hold grudges? To me, he doesn't seem like it, but I could very much so be wrong on that for sure. But yeah, I mean, Tuchel said that in the press conference today. It started and ended in the first half, like Pi said. The information again, the information is not coming from bad places, so it's a tough one then when the manager says it was different and you're like, well, was it? But hey, if he says they solved it, they solved it. And I said it at the time already. I'm like, if Tuchel does drop him for it, for my opinion, like, fair, you're the manager. He insulted you. Like, this is your call. But I would prefer it if they could make up and he could just play the rest of the season, because the rest of the season, sure, part of it as well. But first and foremost, the cup final. Like, there's no chance in my head we beat Liverpool with like Sola left wing back or Kennedy a left wing back or Aspie a left wing back. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't see that. I mean, there is obviously the argument to be made. We won't beat Liverpool with Alonso either. Fair. But still, in my opinion, gives us our best chance. So if what Tuchel said today is true, and the fact that he said it that way does make me think Alonso is probably going to play. But I guess we'll see. I mean, Clash, what's your opinion on everything? What's your opinion on the fact that, well, the reports, reliable reports in our opinion at least, say it was at halftime that Tuchel said the opposite? Like, what do you make of that? Do you think that's Tuchel just trying to kill the rumor mill, to kill the hype about it, the drama about it? Or do you think what you said is the actual truth of it?
I think that's just Tuchel playing it down. it's not surprising that Alonso would have a dust up with the manager. It's not like it's the first time this has happened. So, I mean, you can go back to Lampard when he went to go sit on the bus, losing it. When we heard about that, how he lost it after the game at Alonso. So, but Tuchel's not that kind of guy. I do think he's just the kind of guy like, oh, if you don't want to do what I say, then guess what? You're not going to play. I'll take you off. From my perspective, watching that clip that came out, it looked like after he gave the ball away, he didn't seem like he was bothered to sprint back. And after he got into a little dust up with Tuchel, that you've seen his hands go up and whatever they said doesn't matter, I guess. But that's when Alonso started sprinting. So I think Tuchel wasn't very happy that he wasn't sprinting back to get back into position or even go get the ball back because he just made a lazy pass. I think Tuchel was not having that. And he's not the kind of manager. He's like, if you lose the ball, you can see most other players do it. If you lose the ball, they go and they rush to try to get it back because that's the basics that Thomas Tuchel asks you to do when you lose the ball. So it's one of those things where I think both of these guys, I know Tuchel is the kind of guy who will just be like, okay, yeah, it happened that game, whatever, we'll move on. But I think it's up to Alonso to kind of take it on the chin. And because, like you said, we do need him to play. Unfortunately, I say that in the nicest way possible, but especially against Liverpool, when for whatever reason, when we play against Liverpool, Alonso and Salah, he always keeps them under control for whatever reason. I think that Alonso is just that kind of player. Just we know we need to get rid of him for this summer, but for now, I think it's just about getting over it.
I do agree, but I will also say one thing. Like, I think it was blown slightly out. I mean, obviously, the report was that Tuchel was very unhappy about it, and obviously how he might not play again all season type thing. Now, if Tuchel is offended like that, fair enough. Hey, who am I to tell someone how offended you should be? But what I would say about the whole situation, it's football. Like, there's very few more high-pressure situations than this. Everybody knows how much of a struggle we're in right now in terms of form, how, so just go back to the last stream we did, and me and Con going back and forth, arguing with each other, shouting and whatever. That doesn't mean we hate each other now. That doesn't mean we don't get on anymore now. We do. So, and I know obviously we didn't insult each other, but still, I feel like you're just on a football pitch. You're annoyed that the ref the manager shouts at you, especially if you're a wide player, especially as the fullback. And in the half that you're on the side of your manager, you know how much you've got that manager in your ear. Like, I kind of understand that. Like, I don't agree that it was right that he definitely shouldn't have said it. It's not what I'm trying to say at all. But, I think Tuchel understands and Alonso understands, probably shouldn't have said that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but to me, it's like just that quick, insult is like as a reaction. Doesn't necessarily mean there's a lack of respect, or doesn't necessarily mean you hate each other. I feel like that just happens. Like, as much as it's manager and player, they're still all grown men. Like, Alonso is a 30-year-old man, and Tuchel is a 50-something-year-old man. Like, I'm not sure how old all of you guys watching are, but once you're just an adult, it's not when you're a child and there's an adult. It's different, right? And I know manager is like your superior, but you're still both adults, right? No adult likes probably being shouted at, and some adults react, some don't. So, yeah, I think it's not that big of a deal. I hope that what Tuchel said there is, whether it took into the dressing room or not, doesn't really even matter to me. I mean, kind of, but not into what I'm trying to get at. As long as they solved it, as long as it's fine, that's all that matters. I think you can fix it after that. I mean, Pies, how do you see that? I mean, I see a lot of people saying, it's about respect, and I get that, but it's in the middle of a football match. Like, you're going to be high adrenaline. You're going to be, your heart is pumping. Like, you're not going to be in the most calmest of situations. Just because you react there doesn't mean you don't, in general, have respect, is what I would say.
Yeah, but I think it's about what you say as well. Like, if he just told Tuchel to shut up, like, fair enough. You know what I mean?
I'm weird. Maybe I'm weird, but I almost find that worse, because telling your manager to shut up when he's telling you what to do, I almost find that worse than if he's.
Yeah, but if you swear at him, it's like.
Yeah,
if you swear
I know.
at him,
Maybe I'm probably the weird guy here, but I'd rather be sworn at by someone that I'm trying to tell something than be told to shut up. Like, no, listen.
I agree with this, by the way.
Sorry?
Fair enough.
I agree with that. I like it. If Alonso is telling you to shut up and you're Tuchel and you're like, I'm the manager. You're supposed to be doing what I tell you.
Shut up. It's the last thing you do.
If you're just like insulting me, I'd be like, okay, cool. Are you a child? Like, whatever. That's how I see it.
Fair enough. I just think
well, again, hey, everyone might be different. Tuchel might be different than us here. So again, I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong. I'm just giving my opinion on it. But go on, Pi. Sorry.
No, I forgot what I was going to say now.
If he said shut up, you were saying.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, I'd rather just be told to shut up instead of being sworn out or what supposedly he did say, mother effer or whatever. That's just me personally. I mean, when people tell me to shut up, I'm like, well, I don't like it, but maybe you can have it out a little bit in terms of in the dressing room and stuff. But if it's not, like, I just feel like swear words are just kind of, I don't know, goes that extra step. You know what I mean? If the first thing on your mind is to swear like that, it's like, I don't know, I just think it's a bit dodgy.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Why I said that with the whole it's in the football match. Footballers swear a lot all the time at each other, at the ref, at the opposition players, at that team. It's like that's just. I feel like that's just the football thing. You just tell each other to f off, and obviously not motherfucker. No, I wanted to say mother flipper, but anyway, here we are. Said it anyway. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, but I do agree with where was this comment? Combo Pedro here saying Tuchel is setting levels on respect. I don't see Tuchel as the type of guy to let anything like that slide. I agree with that, and that's why I'm not sure I believe the Tuchel thing about it ended at half time. I think he made sure if he didn't like it, and I'm sure he didn't like it, that Alonso is well aware that he didn't like it. But that doesn't mean they can't make up after, is basically what I'm trying to get at. But let's talk about transfers global. We spent half an hour, 45 minutes talking about transfers. Now, I've been here for an hour and we haven't even spoken about the game tomorrow, which we're going to do now. So, Leeds away. Now, they are now in the relegation zone, obviously, after everything that has gone down over the last few games, with Everton winning their games and Burnley obviously being on a reasonably good run as well. Now Leeds are in 18th, even though they're level on points with Burnley, still in the relegation zone now, Leeds, after, of course, Norwich and Watford have already officially been relegated. Like I say, it's basically kind of a copy of the Everton game in terms of the situation beforehand. We got a draw before in a game that we should have won, even though you could argue against Wolves at home, we should win more than we should against United away. But with how the games have gone, I think they're equally as we should have won as each other, if I'm honest. And we didn't. And now we need to go into a game. Hopefully, the chances are, Leeds found it hilarious how Everton set off fireworks outside a hotel. Chances are Leeds fans are going to do the same thing tonight. So, again, this is why I was so annoyed that we bottled that against Everton, because we're like, it's going to make everybody else think that throwing, start setting off fireworks outside a hotel works. So everyone's going to do it. So I hope they don't. But yeah, like Pi said earlier, just win. Just flipping win. They're not in good form, but if anything, that means they're probably more likely to beat us. Now, what I've put it up on screen as for now is the formation that we played in the last game, probably the last few games, where it's kind of a one behind the two. Although I say that in the first half of the last game, it was actually more one of these ones than a proper pivot. It was kind of like an uneven three, if you make sense, like not a nice triangle, like a uneven triangle, basically. Not sure whether we're going to do that again. Not sure whether you guys are going to agree to do that again, but I'm going to ask you, Clutch, do you think that's what we're going to do again? Of course, you're going to say maybe try the back four, but in terms of if we're remaining somewhat realistic, this is probably what it's going to be, is it not? Whether it's then quite this one or whether it's the 2-1 up top, we'll see. But
yeah, no, I think the back three is the way we go. My question is, because I haven't even made it up in my head, whether we play the two up top and then one behind, or play the three up top and then with two midfields. I guess it just depends on who plays, really. And that's the kind of hard part, where it's like, I kind of want Pulisic to play that behind 10 role again, but who do you put up there with Lukaku? Do you put two left-footed forwards up there? Do you really drop Mason Mount? It's one of those things, because it's like you can't drop Lukaku. I feel like Pulisic deserves to play again, but I also feel like Mount deserves to play again. So I don't know. It's just, that's the complicated part for me.
It is. But Bry, I feel like I've seen you talk about Cavani in the chat a few times here. Now, look at the amount of games Cavani missed this season, and then think about that again. Because Cavani being fit, I actually agree with. Get that on board if you need an experienced backup striker. Sure, especially if Lukaku leaves, Lukaku stays, kind of a bit more pointless. But the guy's just injured way too much. But Pice, back three, yeah, and then do you reckon it's gonna be a 3 behind a 2 or a 2 behind a 3, if you will?
I do agree with Clutch. Would like to see Pulisic in that 10 role again. I thought he did pretty decent, to be honest. He looked miles better than he did when he was out on the inside forward spots. Felt like he enjoyed it more as well. He got on the ball quite a bit. Decent dribbling wise as well. Thought he played all right at the weekend. Yeah, I think I would like to see that kind of him behind two strikers, if you will. But yeah, we'll talk about names, I guess, as we go on.
Exactly. Yeah, we will do that. And again, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to 14,000 subscribers today. We're now, I don't know, like 30 away. So let's get that done, ladies and gentlemen. Get subscribed, please. I would love to hit that today. And we're on the road to 15,000 subscribers still. 15,000 subscribers still. So please subscribe and smash the like button for me. Now, as much as all of us were like, well, I mean, obviously, Pice, I didn't actually talk to you after the game, but as much as Mendy is like, especially for the last goal, I mean, the header was at the edge of the six-yard box. We have a 6'4" goalkeeper with long-ass fucking arms. Come off your line, man. But it's still not enough to not play Mendy, is it, Pice?
I mean, Mendy will play. I don't know. I do agree. I think he's been dodgy for quite a few games now, honestly. He made a very good save in the first half.
After Rudiger's mistake, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's a brilliant save. Saved it with his face, but yeah, I thought on the last goal he could have probably commanded his box a little bit better, but I'm not sure whether he kind of like hesitated. If you watch it back, he kind of like comes out and then goes back on his line. I was like, what are you doing? Like, if that was Kepa, we'd probably analyse that more. And I think what's saving Mendy is his overall Chelsea career so far. We've had that trust in him for so long that when he goes for a bad patch like this, we kind of just put that trust in him anyway, and that's kind of what I think Tuchel's doing. So I would play Mendy, but I mean, to be honest with you, like, again, like, if you play Kepa now, is there really much point? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's so late on in the season, you know? I don't know.
That's what I was going to say. Especially if we're planning on selling him anyway. What's the point now to throw Kepa in? Like, if Kepa was staying, it's maybe a debate to be had. But because I don't think he will stay, and I think the club will try to sell him just because it's going to open up funds. You know, we don't have a lot of players to allow us to open up funds because obviously Rudiger leaving for free, Chris are leaving for free. Aspie's not going to get much for him. Alonso, we're not going to get much for him. So, you know, Werner and Kepa are kind of where we're going to make our money, if we're honest. Maybe Jorginho. But yeah, Clutch, I presume you agree as much as, you know, Mendy has not really been at it for the last few games?
Yeah, I think that if we didn't have the cup final on Saturday, I think I would have tried Kepa to give Mendy a little break, mental reset. But if we drop him today, who knows what that's going to do to his confidence against Liverpool. So I do think we need to keep playing him. But if Liverpool wasn't on Saturday, then I probably would have dropped him today.
Interesting. Yeah, fair. But we do have Liverpool, I guess. So Mendy in goal, it shall be. Now, we talked about it earlier in terms of now really has officially, well, not officially, but has reportedly finalized his move in the summer to Real Madrid. Does he play still, Clutch?
It's tough. I don't really want to, if I'm being completely honest, because, I mean, one, his performances haven't been that great. And on top of that, it's official that he's leaving now. So, but here's the other question. Who do you put over there? Do you put Christensen over there? Christensen's kind of in the same boat. We don't know if he's even going to be able to, like, withstand stomach problems for long enough to get out there. You're not going to put Chalobah over there. Maybe Aspie. I think Aspie did a decent job when he was over there, but...
Who did we play against again when we played him there? West Ham, was it?
I think it was West Ham. I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
So, even at Rudiger's worst, I think he's still better than Aspie and Christensen. So I'll give Rudiger it.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Again, we've got the cup final Saturday. After the cup final, I'd be very happy to drop Rudiger, if I'm honest. But until then, I'm probably going to say he should stay in the side. Pice, do you agree? Or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, unless you play Christensen on the left-hand side, Rudiger's got to play. Yeah, I mean, he's leaving, but still, he still seems I was going to say concentrated, but I can't lie. I was very disappointed with his defending on the Trincao goal. Thought he could have done a lot better, to be honest. The way he showed him inside and just didn't even attempt to lunge at the ball. He just let him shoot. I was like, okay, cool, mate, whatever. But yeah, he has to play for me still. I wouldn't mind Christensen there, but again, he's leaving as well. So what do you do? Got so many defenders leaving. Even Aspi, we've always been playing Aspi. He's not been looking his best either for a long time now. So and he still plays. So I guess you do have to play Rudiger.
I would go watch that goal again because Kova literally bumped him backwards and he wasn't able to go and track him down. Whether he would have, that's a different question, but he didn't even have the chance to. So I wouldn't even blame him on that. Maybe he should have done better before he got to that point. But
yeah, because I think Pice has a point there. Now, Trincao is left-footed. So the fact that Rudiger showed him inside is weird to me. Sure, maybe he's like, yeah, you shoot. I'm going to block it anyway. And if I don't, Mendy's going to save it anyway.
Right,
But
it's like the Yarmolenko goal. You remember that goal where it was on the counter attack and he literally just showed him onto his favourite foot? Like, it's basic defending. Why are you doing that? Like, show him down the line or close him down quicker, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, Dexter as well in a way. I don't think Rudiger's head is in Madrid. Looks like Silva to me, uncharacteristic mistakes, maybe due to mental, physical fatigue. Now, I don't think Rudiger will be physically fatigued. And I do think you could be right with mental fatigue, but I think the whole going to Madrid thing and him having to decide that and stuff is probably part of the mental fatigue, if anything. Kovacic ran straight into Rudiger, yeah, 100%. And yeah, I agree. Rudiger probably, if Kovacic doesn't run into him, does enough that Trincao maybe doesn't even go for the shot. Maybe like that's how I think it. Rather than that he blocks the shot or that he defends it, I think if he's there, Trincao doesn't even attempt it. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that Rudiger could have done better before Kova ever run into him. So those two things can definitely be correct. But yeah, I mean, I know what you said about Christensen, but if we're going to play Christensen, then you can play Rudiger because they're both going. So then that logic doesn't really apply anymore in my head. Thiago Silva struggling as of late, but probably has to play again, doesn't he? Or is that now where Christensen comes in because Thiago Silva is old and played the last game and now we have a cup final on Saturday? So maybe if Christensen is fit, I would actually play Christensen because I think Thiago Silva, I want him fresh for Saturday. Pice, I go with you first. What do you think?
Yeah, 100% agree. I would agree with that. Play Christensen in the middle.
Even if I hate the idea of playing Rudiger and Christensen.
I hate it too, but what can we do? I mean, we need Silva for Sunday, or Saturday, whenever
we could play Aspi here and play Chalobah here or Reece James.
No, I still have to have Rudiger starting. Like, still, I know. I just think he's still our best defender if it's not Silva. So Rudiger for me has to play. I mean, maybe we play a 4 and it's like Rudiger or. No, not even a 4. I swear Rudiger's played on like the right-hand side before or something like that, or like right centre-back, and then someone's played on the left. I don't know. But I think it will be this. I think it will be Rudiger, Christensen.
But we've only done it when Saar played left centre-back, and I'm not...
Yeah, that's true, yeah, that's true. I just remembered that, yeah. We won't be doing that then.
Yeah, it's really a tough one.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Tuchel bloody bought on Saar, so who knows nowadays?
You know what? This is what I think, right? So I just put Rudy here just to make it a bit shorter. I would actually play Aspi there. And I'm not saying he was great against West Ham when he played there, but Rudiger wasn't great in the last game either. So what fucking difference does that make? Was Aspi great in general? Should he have started the last game? No. Should he have started against Everton in hindsight? No. But I don't want to force Chalobah in there because I feel like Chalobah has not played a lot of minutes, so I would feel him being slightly harsh done by when he has to play a different position. So that's why I'm going to say Aspi. I'm going to play Aspi instead of Rudiger, Christensen here. And then in my head, still decide here whether it's going to be Reece James or Chalobah. But Clutch, Christensen in the middle for you, or do you stick with Thiago Silva?
No, I put Christensen in there. It's a risk, but I think the bigger risk is Saturday, not having Thiago Silva fully fit and ready to go. So that's where I think we need to focus today. Christensen should do a job well enough. It's not like he's a terrible player. Who's Leeds leading guy? Is it Bamford still, or is it somebody else these days?
And Bamford's injured, is he not?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't pay attention to him very much.
I swear Bamford's been injured since January or something.
Yeah, he's back in training next week.
Okay, Fair enough. I mean, I do see a lot of people in the chat are saying that how you picking Aspie is dusted, and I'm not saying you're wrong. Maybe I should say Chalobah, but I just don't think we should be playing Rudiger and Christensen next to each other. But I do think we need to rest Thiago, and that's why I'm like, I don't know. I just think there's nothing worse than two players where we're not sure if their head is 100% in it next to each other. And I guess, I mean, Pies, actually, a quick question on the whole aspect.
Is Aspie
he has a contract? Sorry?
I was going to say, is Aspie's head 100% in it? Because I thought he was awful on the weekend, personally.
100% he was. And that's why I get what everybody in the chat is saying. But my question about this is, now he has a contract. He might want to go, but he can't be as sure he'll be allowed to go as obviously the other ones who are done with that. Do you know what I mean? So do we have an update on that? Like, do we know whether Chelsea are likely to let him go or not?
Well, Nazar Kinsella did post something earlier, but I actually didn't read the Aspie part, so I can't tell you. Yeah, I think he said something about what wage he's offered him. Maybe you want to get it up. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what I thought. But still nothing really definite.
No, it's not like as clear cut as... No, it's not as clear cut as Rudiger or Christensen. It seems, or
even Alonso, who will probably let go if we can.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this, but I think Nazar said something about Barca's, like they want to be careful with the wages and stuff. So of both Alonso and Aspie. So I don't know. For me, I love Aspie, man, but it's kind of moving like 15, 16 Ivanovic to me. Like I think now is the right time to let him go. But again, if we let him go, maybe that's another thing we have to do or sort out. I don't know. We mentioned Sterling and Kounde earlier, so who knows?
13 million a year. If that's true, that's mental because that's the money that Lukaku is on at Chelsea. No chance, Barcelona. Obviously in pounds.
I heard 11 million. I didn't hear 13, but yeah.
Even still,
let me check it. Have a look.
Yeah, you check that in the meantime. Yeah, it's a tough one. Let's go to the right then. Now, I'll start with you, Clutch. Chalobah, obviously, I potentially threw him in there on the left, but Chalobah on the right for you, Aspie on the right for you, Reece James on the right for you. What do you think?
I think it all depends on if Jorginho is able to go. If Jorginho is able to go, Reece James is at the right center back for me. If he isn't, then I would probably... I like Chalobah, and I think Chalobah deserves a try. I'd give it to Chalobah, but Reece James would be my first pick if Jorginho was able to play.
I actually completely agree. If I'm honest, I actually completely agree. For this, probably the same explanation. We'll both have, but we'll get to that. Pies, have you figured out what that said about the contract offer to Aspie?
Yeah, so he's being offered 11 million a year before tax at Camp Nou.
Okay, before tax.
However, the Catalans are unable to pay any substantial transfer fee due to ongoing FFP restrictions placed on them. They are also targeting Marcus Alonso, but are aiming to get him for as little as possible. Barca are hoping to sell, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, 11 million a season. Before
bucket of KFC chicken is what I'll accept.
Yeah, but before tax is a big difference, big difference, because Lukaku's on £12 million after tax. But yeah, now, Pies, next question, another bit from the press conference. Jorginho was back in full training reportedly, and Thomas Tuchel said for both him and Kante is that they are back, but that they're both still doubts. Do you know any more? Do you think Jorginho will be available?
I think they'll come off the bench, to be honest, or one of them will. No, I don't think so.
Okay, so if we go by that logic, I think I'll place Chalobah here for you then, Clutch, because otherwise we contradict ourselves in a way, if that makes sense. But then, Pies, would you also pick Chalobah then on the right if you had, or if you've so far gone for Rudy and Christensen? Do you take out Silva and Aspie?
See, I am quite... I don't know, I want to play Reece James right wing back, but I don't know, man.
Well, if Jorginho can't start,
cup final coming on
Reece
Sunday.
James has to play right wing back anyway.
Is it Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Well, Liverpool play today.
Oh God, Jesus.
Liverpool play again. Premier League. What? Why? We play each other in an FA Cup final on Saturday. Why on earth can't us and Liverpool play on Tuesday or Wednesday? Why can't we just have the same? Why not?
Quadruple, mate. That's why.
I think it has to do with TV.
Anyway, no chance to win the league anymore, man.
I think it has to do with TV crap. They want them to both. They want two big teams to be on separate times.
I mean, I do hear that, but I'm sure there is going to be two big games on both of these days anyway.
I'm pretty sure City play tomorrow anyway. So
I guess maybe it's more to do with Liverpool and City. But then play Liverpool. Why then doesn't City just play tomorrow or today? I guess they played Sunday is why. But still, why doesn't City, if they planned the whole thing better, City could play the Tuesday, Liverpool could play the Wednesday, because it makes sense that they want the title rivals not to play at the same time for viewing figures. I understand that. But still, like, come on.
didn't
Anyway,
City play on Sunday? Or did they play?
They did, yeah. That's what I'm saying. So that's why if you plan it ahead already, because we can now play Wednesday, because they played Champions League on Wednesday, didn't they? So we can now play Wednesday and Saturday. So City could have done it last week.
I
Do
agree.
you know what I mean? Obviously, then City would complain, but at least they're not playing somebody else that's in a much easier position that's also in competition, obviously. When they play Newcastle didn't play Champions League, obviously. But that's just how it goes when you're in Europe. But when you play another team that's in the same competition as you, at least give us the same, preparation time and rest time. But yeah, Pi, sorry to take it back. Did you say Chalobah in the end for the right centre back?
See, I kind of want to play James there just to give him as much, not rest as. To be honest with you, I don't know. What do you guys?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. If you say James, I mean, to be fair, Clutch said James, but I thought Clutch meant that if Jorginho is fit, that means Ruben can play right wing back. But if Jorginho isn't fit to start, that means Ruben needs to be in midfield. So if you want Reece James at right centre back, you want us to be a right wing back.
No, I'd play Ruben.
So then Reece James needs to be a right wing back anyway.
No, I'd play James right centre back, and I think Ruben right wing back.
But then who plays in the midfield?
But that only works if Jorginho or Kante can start, right? Because
then one of them can start and come off after 60 minutes. I'm sure if they're back in training, then I'm sure they can play some minutes. We don't know how much. So it's very hard to say, but if we're going off the basis that,
I back it. Why not? Hey, this is not the team that's actually going to turn up on the field. This is just our opinion. Tuchel does whatever he wants to do anyway. So, no problem with that in my books. And I didn't mean that as a dig. I meant that as in we don't have a control over it. But yeah, so on the left is the big question now from the title and everything. Does Alonso play again for you, Price?
I mean, I cannot stand the guy, but...
Or does he need to sit one out and come back for the cup final type thing?
That's a good point, But this game is bigger than the cup final for me. Like, we've won cups in the past, but if we don't get Champions League football,
but that doesn't all depend on one game,
though. We need to get 4 points from 3 games. So we either...
We'll be fine with 3 points, I think.
You reckon?
Yeah. Because we need 3 if Arsenal... if either Arsenal beat Spurs or they draw, right? Then we only need 3. Am I right in that?
Arsenal beat Spurs... Yeah,
I just know Arsenal need to win one game.
Then we only need 3 points. Only if Tottenham beat Arsenal, then we need... And Tottenham never beat Arsenal, I swear.
You know what? I'd play Saul for this game and then play Alonso in the cup final.
Okay. Clutch, would you agree or do you stick with Alonso?
Callum Hudson... No, I'm kidding. No, we're not doing that.
Is he fit, by the way? He's not, is he?
He's in training. That's all I know.
But he's now been training for a week. So is he fit? Do we know that? Can he play?
He's not fit enough to start a game. He could probably be in the squad.
Yeah, of course not. But can he be on the bench at least? That would be something.
I think
haven't seen him in a while. I'm excited for new haircut Callum.
Makes a good point. Rest him, but does Alonso ever really need rest?
I don't think Pice meant that in terms of rest. I think he meant it in terms of almost punishment. But for the cup final, we need you, right, Pice?
But if you punish him, good. But if you punish him tomorrow, is that going to put him in a right space for Liverpool?
I agree. That's why I would pick Alonso, but
on that logic, I'm picking Alonso.
Okay. I will pick Alonso myself as well. But we will still, obviously, we will give Pice his soul for the time being. Yeah, I know we had this one stream where we was like, you know what, actually? We did this whole poll thing. Let's do another poll because I would love to know the opinions of the people. And by the way, guys, we're at 94 likes. So let's get to 100 likes immediately right now, but also to 150 because we still have over 200 people watching. So get down below, smash the like button. Just one click of a button does cost you money, barely costs you any time.
Cho is in training with the first team. He is in training. He came back on Monday.
I will put a poll in the chat now, which will ask you who you think should be starting at left wing back. I will give you 4 options here. I'm not saying these 4 options are all valid options, but I'm giving you 4 options. They are going to be Alonso, Saul, Kennedy, and even Aspie, because we haven't put Aspie anywhere else yet. So theoretically, of course, it could be there. I'm just going to be curious what the people think. So I'll put it in the chat. Please do vote in the poll. It should show up for you any second at the top of the live chat. Did Pice get kicked out for a second? And he's back. There he is. Hello, Pice. But yeah,
My internet just got nuked.
All right, all good. It wasn't enough that Putin got a sanction out. But yeah, so ladies and gentlemen in the chat, please do pick your vote in the poll. So far, we've had 40 votes of 54% Alonso, 21% Saul, 21% Kennedy, and 5% Aspie. Now it's even 21% to Kennedy and 19% to Saul. Interesting. But yeah, put your votes in there, ladies and gentlemen. I'll get to your answers in a minute. Right side, now that we've put Reece James there, does that mean we're all in agreement that this is going to be Ruben? Pice has already said it, so I'm not even going to need to ask him. But Clutch, is that what you were hinting at when you initially wanted to put Reece James at right centre back?
Yes, I do like Ruben there a lot, and I think putting him with Kovacic in the midfield, we kind of seen how like our midfield becomes pretty much paper and gets ran through. So that's why I would rather put Jorginho over there and then put Ruben out there, because I think Jorginho pairs with Kovacic a lot better. So that's what I would do.
I think I need to change Pice's name in my phone.
Bro, the amount of times this guy, not even that guy, but there's one guy on Twitter that keeps saying that to me. So maybe that's him. I don't know.
And someone in this chat keeps calling you Dynamic Pice. I've no idea why this.
I don't know why. That started the other day. I know why.
I know why.
Why is it?
It's because you put a tweet out a couple weeks ago after we played West Ham, we won that, and you were praising a couple players, especially Pulisic, and then the next game they had bad games, and you said something about like, I'm tired of all these players, we need dynamic wingers. And since then I've seen so many people come after you for that.
But that's just whatever.
Yeah,
that's just completely ignored what I was talking about, if that's true.
Yeah.
But okay.
As people do on Twitter, mate. As people do on Twitter. And HM said, yeah, but Ruben needs to start midfield. We don't have midfield options. 100%. If we're going to probably all have Jorginho here, if Jorginho is not fit to start, then Ruben will be midfield anyway. That means Reece James will probably be here. And then it's just a decision, is it Chalobah or Aspie at right centre back? But, we're going to make it, just to make it a bit more interesting, we're going to pretend Jorginho is fit. Now, and I'll start with you, Clutch. Do you think it should be like this, or do you think it should be a pivot? A double pivot, sorry.
A pivot. I don't know. It's because this all depends on who goes in that player 10 position. That's the problem. If it's Mason Mount, I could see doing that. But if it's not Mason Mount and it's Pulisic, then no.
Now, for my team, player 10 is going to be Mason Mount.
Because that's where I get. I did really like Mount will play. That's the point. Yeah, let's do that. We'll put Mount there.
But then you want it as a 3, like so.
Yeah, that's fine. If it's like that, Mount will do that, and Mount will do that shift.
Here, then, right?
Yeah, Mount will shift between that 10 and that 8. That's just what he normally does anyway.
There you go. I mean, what I'm a little bit worried about, to me, Ruben already looked shattered at the end of the last game. Now, if he has to play wing back, then Georgie comes off at some point, and then Ruben needs to fill in there, unless it's Kante that comes on. But then I guess Kova drops deep a little bit more if the result by that point allows him to play a pivot of Kante Kova, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, Pice, would you align it as this almost 3, or would you prefer a 2? And who would you fill it with? But,
I mean, what you've got on the screen now is probably what we'll play, to be honest with you. I don't think Kovacic would get benched, even though he did make that mistake. I don't see him being benched.
Shouldn't be either.
No, shouldn't be. Yeah, it probably will be as you've got on screen now, but it'll probably start as like a 3-4-3, and then Mount will kind of probably shift into midfield. Tuchel did say we got done on transitions and there was too much space in midfield, so maybe he'll try and compact the midfield more tomorrow, and because Leeds
Which
are a
is why I
fast
think we
team.
might actually start with this, if I'm honest. But we'll see. It depends on who plays up
Yeah,
top
could
as well.
do. Yeah, could do. Yeah, either or really. But I like the three that we have on here. It's just obviously dependent on whether Jorginho is ready. It's a
I
weird
mean,
one, right? Because he said like Jorginho is going to be out for a few games. Oh look, he's back in training now. Like,
did
what's
he
that all
say that?
about?
I was so
Yeah, he
annoyed by
did.
things I didn't even watch half the press
Yeah, he
conference.
did. He was like Jorginho is going to be out for like 3 games or something, and then he's back in training. That's a bit weird.
That does make me think it's less likely that he starts tomorrow, but we'll just see. I mean, someone in chat said Mount here, Pulisic there, which if you want to go really attacking, fair, and also maybe not overplaying Kovacic just after injury.
You can't
maybe.
leave Jorginho like that, though.
Yeah, we can't do Mount, Pulisic, and have to like, or even if it's Ruben, like no matter who we play here, we cannot leave them hanging and put Mount and Pulisic as the 2 in front of them, because RD is already losing his shit. I'm still playing Pulisic. Just wait. It doesn't mean I'm not playing Pulisic. Just not playing him in the same position. And I know that's a bit controversial, but we'll get to that. But yeah, you agree with that midfield 3 then, yeah, Pies?
Yeah.
There you go. Now, for me, Pulisic starts here because I am not having Timo Werner at all. And I understand Pulisic was actually pretty good in this Mount position last game. I get that. So maybe it's a bit harsh to play him in a different position. But I think Mount needs to play anyway. But I still think Pulisic needs to also play. And how can I make that work? Other than, well, obviously we could make it like so, right? And play pivot, obviously. I understand. But if, we were to stay with this kind of setup, then I think Pulisic as the kind of second striker is okay. Of course, then he has a different role, and it's less about him coming from deep and dribbling. Then it's more going to be about him making runs and hopefully receiving the ball and then finishing. But maybe that's better anyway, because, I mean, his passing was very good last game, if I'm honest, in terms of decisive passing especially. But I still back his finishing more than his passing, personally. So if anything, I don't mind that, if I'm honest. Clutch, would you be happy with Pulisic in this role? Or do you think if it's Pulisic, he shouldn't play as a second striker, he should play as a kind of this inside 10 winger role?
I've always thought that Pulisic can play up top alongside somebody like that. Now, whether it's Kai or Lukaku next to him, that's my question. I think that's where I start to think maybe because I think Lukaku and Pulisic link up very well together, but in that kind of position, I don't think those two link up as much. I think it's more the person behind Lukaku because Lukaku likes to take up that space on the right. I'm still going to play Pulisic there. I'll decide here in a minute on the other ones.
Yeah. And like, Aper Vikes is how I'm going to try to pronounce that. Both Pulisic and as a 10, yeah. Well, do you mean like the Kovacic thing? Now, all behind the one striker. Yeah, like I said, but we did this and we finally attacked somewhat acceptably. So why would we go away from that setup? Like, I'm not saying we were great, but we attacked better than we have done in ages in the last game. So why would I not play the same setup of formation? Why would I go back to the 2 10s and 1 striker if that other thing worked last game? That's why I'm going to do it this way for me. But Pies, do you agree? Pulisic here? Is that if Mount is the one here and Pulisic can't fill that role again like he did last game?
I'd like Pulisic to play, but I think Havertz is going to start, to be honest with you. I think it will probably be Havertz.
And Lukaku start?
See, I want to say yes, but they've literally never. Well, I mean, they have started together, but it's very, very rare.
But only when Havertz playing in the wing, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see Havertz not playing, though.
I think it's got to be Pulisic. Like, he played a good game last game.
Yeah, but so did Lukaku, and Lukaku could easily get dropped.
I'm keeping Lukaku in the team as well. Even me. I'm playing Pulisic and Lukaku up top. And they worked well last game.
But then, like, my question is, though, if that does well tomorrow, what happens to Havertz on the weekend?
That's always been the question.
That is a conversation, a question, and a debate to be for us had on Friday, if my internet works where I'm staying, and for Tuchel for Saturday. But for tomorrow, I think
like there's just no way for me.
Lukaku has to start tomorrow. Like, hey, if we have some sort of meritocracy at this club, he needs to start tomorrow.
I'm going with
players happy.
I'm going with Havertz and Lukaku, but I don't
Okay.
necessarily think it happens. But
Okay.
that's what I would do. I've always wanted to see how they'd get on. And I think you know what, like it's hard doing these lineups. What I think's going to happen, or what I want to happen, or what I'd like to see. Because what I think's going to happen is Werner's going to play because of their high line. So I think that's going to happen. You know what? It could even be Mount, Werner, Lukaku is what I think's going to happen. But what I want to happen is Havertz and Lukaku. I want to see them link up, and if they both sort of make runs and stuff like that, could work well. But if Lukaku stays too static, then it's not going to work. And also, I'm just worried about like what positions Havertz takes up because I don't know if two strikers going to work with Havertz though, because he's always wanting to move around. Like, will it be too much for?
That's why I think we should play Pulisic next to him.
Yeah.
Also, we need someone to make those. I mean, Kai can make those runs, but
I don't see Kai not starting though. I just don't see it. He didn't play on the weekend. He's going to start. It's as simple as that. Like, he's still one of Tuchel's most favoured players. He's going to play.
But then, when you go back to the times where Lukaku played 10 in a row until that Palace away game with the 7 touches, Kai barely played in those games. So it seemed to have always been either Kai or Lukaku rather than both.
I can tell you right now, it is Lukaku or Kai. It's not both. It's never been both.
Yeah,
and that's where I've always said about.
It's going to be both.
That's why I've always said between those two, it's who you choose. Because where do you put Kai if it's not up top where he can roam around? He doesn't work in a 2-striker system. He never has, and probably never will, because he doesn't get to do what he wants to do.
Well, I'm sure he can at some point if you give him enough time and working on it. Good players can adapt to most things, but
I think that's half the reason why we haven't seen the best out of Kai. Now, if you put Mount over there on the right, Pulisic on the left, and then Kai up top, you have something because that's what Kai favors to do. But if you're not going to drop Lukaku after 2 goals. You're just not going to do it.
Well, I don't know.
But you shouldn't.
And you need somebody who's going to dribble. That's the other thing.
No, he shouldn't drop Lukaku, but for me, he's more likely to drop Lukaku. You know, I could see him easily going Mount, Havertz, Werner, and we'll be like, why has he dropped Lukaku? Like, I can 100% see that happening.
If he drops Lukaku and Pulisic, you know, Tuchel is like, I love Tuchel. I really want to back him, and I want to be as hard in backing him as Pice is. But if he does things like dropping Lukaku and Pulisic after the last game, where those two were the only good players, basically, I'm not having that. I'm not having that at all. Sure, if it works out, then in hindsight, I'll be like, fair enough. But, you know, if we're
like, he trusts Havertz so much, though. Like, he doesn't trust Lukaku still, you know what I mean? So even after 2 goals, he's like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't really praise him that much. He just said he played well. It's like, you know, when Havertz...
he would have praised him had we won, but he was just too annoyed that we played.
No, I saw a quote. I think, when we lost, was it 4-1 to Brentford? It was 4-1, wasn't it? Yeah, I think Havertz, he gave like a proper, like, he said, oh, Havertz played so well, and da-da-da. And he's talking all tactics about Havertz against Brentford when he didn't score. But then Lukaku scores 2 against...
You sure that was against Brentford?
Yeah, well, I'm sure it was Brentford, because I saw a quote on it. Someone posted a screenshot like Tuchel when Lukaku scores 2 versus when Havertz doesn't score. And it was like you could see how much Tuchel rated Kai Havertz so much more. So does 2 goals, like, does Tuchel install confidence in Lukaku and start him again, or does he go back to his trusted Havertz? Like, it seems stupid to drop Lukaku.
See, if it was just a penalty and a tap-in, I might agree. But the second goal was too good to drop him.
Yeah, it was a good goal.
You gotta bank on that confidence. You have to, in my opinion.
But at the same time,
we were so desperate for a win that you need to bank on that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I still think, you know, if chances come, Lukaku's still our best bet of putting the ball in the net, in my opinion. So, I don't know.
I personally probably think Mount is, if I'm honest. I know his finishing is sometimes super dodgy, including a cup final. But I still think, on average, he's probably the one I back the most to score any chance that we get, if I'm honest. But maybe that's just me.
Make a case for it. I just don't know. I'm not like... I'm not sure. I'm really not sure on what attack he's going to do, because I can see so many different things like happening. You know what I mean? It's so weird.
Yeah, for sure. But this is a good comment by Mohammed, actually. Brentford was only the beginning of our collapse. And was Brentford the first game after the international break? I think it might have been.
Yes.
At this point, like it was much easier when it was just one bad result to still be praising individuals after a bad result than it is after 4 or 5 bad games. Of course, we had Madrid and Southampton and Palace in between that, but still basically struggling since that Brentford game. And I do agree with that. It's more difficult now to still praise when we have bad results than it is at the first bad result. And for me, someone said it there, Leeds get a lot of yellow cards, give penalties away. That's another thing. The more you put Pulisic in and around the box, the more likely you are to win him for him to win a penalty. And Lukaku won one in the last game, but in general, Pulisic is by far the player that's most likely to win us penalties. And with how we are doing, any little bit of help that we can get to score to win games is needed. And if that's a penalty, like in the last game, who knows if we even score one goal without getting that penalty in the last game? Do you know what I mean? Because like it only seems like that goal opened it all up for Lukaku's confidence. Like if Lukaku doesn't even take the pen, I guarantee he doesn't even take the shot which he scored the second with. Like on his weak foot from 25 yards or 22 yards. Like the fact that he even went for that surprised me in itself, if I'm honest. But yeah, that's why for me that should be Pulisic. And it should be Lukaku. And then again, then first of all we need to see anyway how does Lukaku play against Leeds, and then we can debate against Liverpool. Also, Liverpool is a different kind of opposition. Does Lukaku work so well against Liverpool? Maybe we need to do it like in the cup final. Just this time, hope VAR functions properly, because it worked really. Start Kai, bring Lukaku on, score us the winner. That's essentially what happened. If VAR didn't screw it up, so you could say that just do the same plan again. Just this time have better finishing and hope VAR doesn't fuck up, I guess. But yeah, it's a tough one for sure. Like I definitely see what Price is saying when he said like, yeah, there's so many different things that could happen. Like, do I think Havertz in general should be playing against Leeds? Yeah. Against Leeds, Havertz is probably the guy I want in there because I need work rate, I need, running, I need movement. But at the same time, also, like I said, they have a high line. So that's, if anything, the kind of opposition that we want Lukaku against, because then he can be fed through balls as long as anybody plays them. Do you know what I mean? So it's someone hasn't scored since Middlesbrough. Who are you talking about?
Is he talking about Lukaku?
Because he scored 2 in the last game, mate. But sure, unless he's trying to say he didn't score until the last game since the Middlesbrough game, which is true. And he is a highest goal scorer. But that whole highest goal scorer thing is a bit of a mystic stat because it's facts, but the start of the season, very different discussion and situation to everything after the interview. So not like you can't just say, he's top goal scorer, so that's why he clearly had a great season. No, he was good until he got injured. Then he was injured for ages. Then he had one good game. Then the interview came out, and then everything was fucked. So, let's not lie to people and ourselves. But yeah, that's what I think we should be going with, if I'm honest. The only thing I'm not too sure whether I want Chalobah or Rudiger, the left side of centre back. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. Now, Pies, I'll start with you. Do you think we finally win a game again tomorrow?
Yes, I think we do. I think we do. Yeah, hopefully. It's going to be a difficult one, I think, just because I think Leeds are going to come right at us and it's going to test our defensive solidity, which has not been good for a while now. So I think we are going to get tested, but
I think it's just going to test our passing. Our defenders' passing is the one.
Yeah, there's goals in this game for us. It's not like a traditional deep block team that's fighting relegation. We're not playing Burnley or something. Yeah, we're not playing Wolves, Burnley, someone like that. We're playing a team that's has a high line.
We play Burnley, batter them 4-0, to be fair.
Yeah, we do. I'd love that again tomorrow. I mean, they concede on average like 2-3 goals a game. So if we can't score at least 2 goals and we don't win the game, I'm going to be very disappointed. We need to have a convincing win. Again, it's definitely a difficult ground to go to. If the atmosphere's on it, it's going to be difficult. But
it's a Wednesday night as well. Night games,
yeah, it's Wednesday night. Look, we're Chelsea though. We have to win this game. If the players got dragged into training on Sunday, I know Tuchel said it was more of a relaxed thing and they watched the under 23s and all that, but still they would have. I think some of them done some gym work. The ones that didn't play did a training session. So look, they've not been having days off. So look, we need to win this game, and I shouldn't have even
What's the
said
score
I think
prediction?
we will. I say I hope we will. I don't think we will because I don't think we're going to win any game at the moment, to be honest with you. But
But what's the score prediction, bro? If you had to give one.
2-0 Chelsea.
Okay. Put it to you then, Clutch. Do you think we will finally win a game again? Is it true, by the way, that we've only won 8 home games this season in the league? That's mental, you know? And how many have we had already? 16, is it? Do we still have 2 left or 1 left? I think 2. But still.
Two more Premier League games after this.
Yeah, but home games.
Hold on, I'm on the app anyway. So I'm looking at the training pictures. Give me a second.
Yeah, two more league. We have 3 more Premier League games, including tomorrow. But they're both at home, Leicester and then Watford. So from 16 home games in the Premier League, we've only won 8. That's awful. Of course, we only lost like 1 or 2, but still, or 2 or 3, but still awful. How many games we've drawn? Absolutely shocking. But Clutch, do you reckon we're gonna win again tomorrow?
Yeah. My heart tells me I want to do a 3-0, but my head's like saying it's probably going to be a 1-0 victory. Actually, I'm going to do 2-1 because our defense has been shaky at best. So
it has. I'm going to go with Lukey's prediction. I'm going to say 3-1. Just don't see us keeping clean sheets, if I'm honest. I know we did. Well, no, we haven't in ages, other since West Ham. I swear, we haven't had a clean sheet. So I must say 3-1. I just hope that we will, while we haven't been good defensively and we threw it away, our attack was pretty decent against Wolves, I thought. Could have certainly scored more, and they should have scored more. But I think the fact that Lukaku got 2, if he starts again, I think that will help us get some goals. And I just see the thing we need to do is not let happen what happened against Everton. We cannot allow them to take the lead. If they take the lead, we're fucked anyway. Because even Leeds will sit back once they take the lead against us. Especially if it's at some point in the second half. Sure, if they take the early lead, maybe not. But we cannot allow to not score for ages and then them get a goal. Because once we go 1-2-0 up, they will open up so much. I reckon we'll quite comfortably get a couple others on the goal, if I'm on the counter, if I'm honest. And then it's just a question, will they score one somehow? But yeah, so just make sure we don't concede first, and then I reckon we're going to be fine. By the way, big shout out. I mean, I spoke about the Women's FA Cup final on Sunday, but big shout out to the women's team. 3rd time English champions in a row. Well done. It was an absolutely wonderful game against Manchester United. A 4-2 victory. Going 1-0 down, going 2-1 down, and then 2 absolute screamers by the hero herself, that is Sam Kerr. So I'm actually very much looking forward to Sunday because chances of winning probably bigger than on Saturday. And hey, 1 trophy is better than no trophy. So yeah, big shout out to the women's team. At least they don't let us down. And I tweeted this after they 1-0 down, 2-1 down, and still won that. I reckon the women's team needs, and maybe even Emma Hayes needs to give the men's team a bit of a lecture because their man's mentality is absolutely embarrassing and need to fix themselves. So maybe a lecture from the women's team will help. I don't know, but we need to try something. And whatever we've tried so far ain't working. Liverpool resting Salah, yeah, let them rest him. I don't really care. Salah is the one I least worry about when we play Liverpool, to be honest, because Rudiger in the cup final will be right on it, and that means Salah won't be that much of an issue. I know he scored against us at the Bridge, but that was one moment. I'm not saying he can't get one moment in the cup final either, but I don't think Salah will be the one to run us riot. It's never Salah when Liverpool, hurt us over and over and over again. It's always Diaz. Well, now Diaz, or Mane mainly. Or some long shot screamer from like a Henderson or God knows who. So yeah, but yeah, that's me. Now, boys, any final words before we play Leeds? It's we just need to win. Like we just need to win. Clutch. Like what more can we say? The fact that we put ourselves in this situation, we're fucking 1 point ahead of Arsenal. You know how embarrassing that is. 1 point ahead of Arsenal.
Considering how close we were at the top, and now here we are, getting ready to go into what could potentially be a top 4 battle. I think the rest of the season's in our hands. Leeds are in a relegation fight, but so was Everton. So we know how that goes. I think it's mentality right now is the key. We have to know who we are. We have to know that we are still Chelsea. We're one of the better teams on the planet. Still, at this moment, defending champions of Europe. Till 3 weeks or whatever it is. So we're still that. And we need to remember that we're that. And we need to build off the momentum, some of the momentum that we got last weekend, even though we kind of bottled it a little bit, but we still got a little bit of momentum and we got to build on top of that. It's something. It's better than what we've had. So it's a must win for me. So, and Leeds is one of those teams under a new manager who doesn't play the same way as old Leeds. So, but I think
not too far different, to be fair.
It's not terribly different. Still high intensity, but we'll see. I think we'll be fine.
Let's hope so. Price, on your end, any kind of last words? Because, bro, I mean, I don't even want to think about this. I don't even want to pose the question. But if we somehow finish 5th, like, I don't even want to say it, but even somewhere in my brain will even tell me I'm fuming with this. That will include Tuchel. I'm not going to say then I want Tuchel sacked, but some part of my head will think it if we do come 5th, and we just cannot allow that to happen, can we?
If we finish 5th, it'll be because we deserve to finish 5th. That's all I'll say. We've got 3 games now, 3 Premier League games.
Right,
if we finish 5th,
we deserve to be fucking relegated.
It will be our own doing. Let's just say that. If Chelsea cannot get 3-4 points from
against Leeds, Leicester and Watford,
we deserve Europa League football. That's all I'll say. And yeah, I'll be fuming because, I mean, the transfer window as well. It's like you get less money from the qualification. Well, you don't even get qualification for Champions League. Europa League is just shit. I hate it. I mean, no offense, but look at the final this year. Rangers against Frankfurt. Like, come on. Like, it's borderline embarrassing. That's good for neutrals, but they're not like, you know what I mean? Chelsea would smash the living hell out of both of them. You know what I mean? Like, Europa League's just not our level.
We can't even smash the living hell out of Wolves, man.
Nah, we would, though. If we played them in a European final, it would be like 5-0 or something to us. So, like, it's just, I don't want to be in that dead competition. So just sort it out. And, we have to win tomorrow. I'm telling you, if we don't win tomorrow, I'm going to be shitting myself because Leicester are not a bad team. I mean, if we can't beat Wolves at home, we can't beat all the Brentford and Everton and things like that. We ain't beating Leicester, I can tell you that now. So it's going to go down to the final game if we don't win tomorrow, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can't cancel my flights, but I wish I could then if we don't win tomorrow. So please win. Chelsea, please win. Because, I want to be going to London happy, motivated, excited, not just full of depression. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to round it out here. Like I said a couple of times earlier already, we're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. We're very close to 14,000 subscribers right now and today. So we can literally hit that today. If you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. Just one click of that big red subscribe button down below. Make sure that you get notified or whatever if you hit the notification bell button as well. Sometimes YouTube's weird. For streams, sometimes they notify you even when you don't have the notification bell button on. But, anyway, subscribe so you make sure you don't miss our player rating stream tomorrow, which will, of course, take place after the game. I'm not sure what exactly I'll do around the cup final. I'm not a fan of vlogging, if I'm honest, so probably not that, but might do something live in the ground, outside the ground. We'll do something. We'll figure something out, ladies and gentlemen. But excuse me, like I said, subscribe, smash the like button for me if you haven't already. But thank you guys for watching. Big shout out to my 2 wonderful guests. For coming on. Please do subscribe or follow their social medias. And of course, check out Pice's website, chelseafc365.com. I realized I never ended the left wing back poll, which finished on 172 votes. Alonso, 47%, Soul, 20%, Kennedy, 24%, and Aspie, 9%. So, make of that what you will. But hey, here we are. The fact that Kennedy got more votes than Saul, so, I mean, it's a loan, so it's not that bad. Honestly, one of the worst signings we've ever made. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards. Hopefully, we get that win again tomorrow, and we'll see you next time.